With the lives of the remaining members of the sea base in the balance, the Doctor must travel back in time to the beginning of this story to find out how and why those magnetic coordinates came to be. But when the dreaded Fisher King steps up to knock them out one by one, can the new TARDIS crew survive? Get ready for our review today in the Vortex.
Broadcast amplitude at maximum capacity. Transmitting through time and space in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Vortex.
Voices from the Vortex reviews Series 9, Episode 4, Before the Flood.
Can I just always have a rock guitar intro for every show I watch?
Yes, I love it.
I'm down for it.
Oh my god, I was so happy with that. That was just...
Hey guys, this is Matt.
And this is Taylor.
What up?
Yeah, welcome to the review this week, Before the Flood, Part 2 of the underwater base.
Electric Boogaloo.
That we're going to be making that joke all series long.
Yes, we really will. Guys, this was a really good episode.
It really was. I enjoyed it.
I did too. We got a lot to talk about this episode, believe it or not. But I just wanted to throw out there up front that this is what we're talking about when we say good second parts to show to the two-parters, and yeah. I'm very happy about that. It's an affirmation of what the show can really do when it's given a format that it's not used to, but it's given a writer who's good at what he does. So I was really surprised, and I was very happy with it. But jumping right into it, man, I love that it opens up with the Bootstrap Paradox discussion, which is honestly one of the biggest cornerstones of Doctor Who.
Yes, I really enjoyed the whole Doctor breaking the fourth wall kind of thing, and he's talking to us. It was really great. It was kind of parallels to Listen. You know, it's kind of that thing that Capaldi's doing, and I hope he does this again later, because I really enjoy this sort of the Doctor talking to us through the television, which was really cool, or your computer screen, or however you watch it. But he was talking to me about this, and then he goes into this whole idea of the Bootstrap Paradox, which is great.
Now, of course, Whovians of all stripes will know he's gone through this several times. Just in New Who alone, Fires of Pompeii and the Waters of Mars, which were two examples of the Doctor made it happen, and it was because of him. It was always meant to be him. He was a part of the paradox.
Right, yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I liked his explanation about Beethoven and something. Right. Yeah, the whole idea. This is a really great idea, a really great timey-wimey thing, which I love. This paradox.
I love that he had to look at us. He had to look at us and say, "But this didn't. No, not really. Like not really with Beethoven. That never happened." And then every one of us is thinking, "Really, really, Doctor? I've met Beethoven. Have you? Or are you just covering your tracks?"
Exactly. No, but it's this whole idea of, the person has heard of these things, and then they end up being the one who has done these things because they've heard of them. So it's like, where did the idea originate? Where did it ever start? Mm-hmm. And it really, my mind, and of course, it's not a podcast, it's not a Doctor Who podcast without Taylor bringing up Lost again. But this really, my mind immediately went to Lost in season, not series, because that would be British. In season 5 of Lost, there's this whole Bootstrap Paradox with this compass that gets passed from person to person. At first, Locke is in the jungle, and Richard comes in, and gives him this compass and says, you're going to have to die and all of these other things. And he's like, wait, how do you know? He's like, well, you gave me this compass and you told me to tell you this. And you're like, and he's like, okay. And then so later they do a little bit of time traveling. Spoiler alert, if you've never seen the show. And he gives Richard the compass and tells him to do these things. Now, the only reason he's telling Richard to do these things is because Richard told him to do these things. And so it's this thing of not only where did these ideas start, like this is what you need to do, but also this compass. Where did this compass originally come from? It's been passed from person to person in this loop. And so it's just this crazy idea that if you think about it too long, your nose might start to bleed.
Right, and because there is no real good answer to it. The doctor mentions that at the end is, when he's telling Clara, she thinks, oh, it's so clever of you that you did that. He says, no, you don't get it. I only did it because I did it, and that's how I got the idea to do it. So when did I get the idea to do it? Which blows her mind, which I thought was great. Clara's like, whoa, all this time and space travel, and Clara goes, wait a minute, that's new information. Well done. I will ask... Well done. I will ask this, though. Does the Bootstrap Paradox fit in with this idea of the Time Lord hybrid theory that was thrown at us by Davros in the first two-parter? The idea that did the Doctor run away because there was a Time Lord hybrid? And that's still that. Of course, that's still a question. That was something Davros dropped in, and maybe that's something that we'll find out this season. Maybe that's something that they're building towards. But if they did, is it possible because he ran away, that's going to happen? Is this sort of a second piece of the puzzle that we should be looking at? Are those two things connected?
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's kind of it's also reminding me too a little bit of like just Oedipus Rex from old Greek tragedy. It's like this whole there was this prophecy that something was going to happen, and so he ran away, but then by doing that he ends up causing it to happen. Mm-hmm. So it's that really kind of reminds me of that. It's one of those that you might be right.
Post hoc ergo propter hoc.
Yeah. Maybe the Doctor is afraid that he would be a part of this sort of Dalek hybrid thing, so he ran away. But then now him out in the universe is somehow going to cause this. So yeah.
This is one of those episodes where Moffat truly lives up to the complete and total amount of crap that he gets from people, because apparently if you're a fangirl and you're on an episode of Doctor Who, you're gonna die. If you're Osgood, you're dead. If you're
O'Donnell, you're
dead. Either he doesn't like fangirls or he doesn't like women with a last name that begins with an O. I don't know.
Who knows?
But Clara Oswin Osgood had to die several times before she got to stick around. So he really hates that last name starting with an O.
Right.
Moffat.
I really loved, speaking of O'Donnell, I really loved there were so many good references in this episode. And you know me, I love continuity. I love references. Right off the bat, O'Donnell's like, well, I doubt Rose, Martha, and Amy, lost their cookies. And I was like, Rose, Martha, and Amy, oh my god. And then she's like, yeah, I used to work for UNIT. And so she kind of asks him, like, oh, like, when are we or whatever? And he tells her, and he goes, oh, so this is post-Harold Saxon.
Pre-Harold Saxon.
Oh, was it pre-Harold Saxon? That was it. And
yeah,
I was
this is the 1980s, so it was before Harold Saxon. And the second one she mentions was from Kill the Moon, but I can't remember the quote that she says for it.
Right. And then and
then she says, the Minister of War.
Right. And he's like,
that just
I
sounds
know,
cool.
I loved that, because he was like, what was that? No, wait, no, I'm sure I'll find out soon. And I was like, I'm sure we will.
And for anyone keeping track, that's going to be in Doctor Who season 9, episode 8. 27 minutes into it. It's really going to be a throwback to earlier days of Doctor Who. Continuity nerd in me came out there. Sorry.
So yeah, I loved that. I loved those references to those people and to Harold Saxon, the whole thing. Like she called him Harold Saxon and not the Master or whatever. And then and the other sort of kind of a reference I'll say about this episode was several times, and it was more when they were in the base, the underwater base. It was sort of these music stings that were so classic Who. I loved them.
I didn't even notice that.
There was a couple, and there was where it was just like blank, blah, like that kind of like real cheesy, dun 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 kind of music. And so I really enjoyed that.
Last podcast we talked about there were a couple of little things that were dropped in there. Clearly, Toby Whitehouse is a huge Star Trek fan, and one of the things that was there was it said 1701 on one of the doors, the bulkhead doors that drop down. 1701, of course, is the one part of the serial number for the Starship Enterprise. So as I'm watching this episode, I was excited to see on a bulkhead above the Doctor as he's walking in the warehouse or church, whatever it was supposed to be. The written, on the bulkhead was NCC, which is the first part of the serial number for the Enterprise, NCC 1701. I thought that was really cool. I'm like, hey, he got it in there.
Yeah.
Well done, Toby.
Well done, Toby. That'll do.
Toby. That'll do, Whitehouse. That'll do.
Oh, another reference that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
That I didn't even realize until the second viewing was when he's playing the guitar at the beginning, his amp was Magpie Electrics.
Yes.
That was really cool.
Yes, we've seen that several times now.
Yeah. I really like that.
I love that. For viewers who might not be aware, or listeners, Magpie Electrics was first shown in Idiot's Lantern in Season 2. Which was Magpie Electrics, which was selling the TVs for the coronation. And then, of course, later on, it was the brand of television that Martha Jones had in her apartment when they were watching in the Sound of Drums. It was the first of the two-parter. The first of the two-parter. I can't remember which one. And then, of course, later on in The Beast Below, it was the actual Magpie Electrics was a building on UK in space.
Yeah.
So it just shows up randomly as this one electrics company that clearly has survived through time and space.
Yes, from this little shop into a, conglomerate of sorts.
into a legend.
Yes.
I know you were a big fan of anytime the TARDIS uses a Doctor hologram. So we got one of those.
Well, I love that. It was when the TARDIS was taking off, and I think it was Bennett was inside. He was the only one in there, and the little Doctor hologram came on, and it was Capaldi, and it reminded me a lot of like Blink when they put the DVD in there, and the little Tennant hologram popped up and said, Permacall, whatever, and hold on, hold on, and here we go.
Well, that's just like when they did. Parting of the Ways, and he sends Rose back home.
Yes, exactly. So I enjoyed that, and then I know, like I saw a gift set on Tumblr that was like there was one with 11 too, so it was like all 4 of them. So I thought that was really neat.
Oh yeah.
That we got that with this Doctor too.
11 because 11 had to in Let's Kill Hitler, he had to have the hologram pop up because he was dying from the poison of the Judas tree.
Right.
And he had to have an interface to work with. Give me someone I like. No, too much guilt. Yeah, that was nice. He's really good with holograms, obviously, because he makes the ghost hologram and programs it to say all the things he needs to hear to get him to do all the things he needs to do. Ergo, Bootstrap Paradox. He's a little too good with holograms. He's really good with teleports, and he's really good with holograms. Sort of two things.
Yes. He's a jack of two trades.
He's a jack of two trades. He's good at Sonics. Okay, I'll give him Sonics.
Sure.
He's good at Sonics.
Yes. 3 trades. So I have a question, and maybe you can help me answer this.
Yeah.
Because I honestly did not understand this. So I didn't really ask myself this question until after I watched it the second time. Because the second time I knew that the Doctor Ghost was a hologram sent by the Doctor. So I got all that. So as I was watching it the second time, why did the Ghost Doctor let the other ghosts out of the Faraday cage? I did not understand why he did that, because he just endangered everyone by doing that. So I didn't catch that. I didn't get what was the point of that.
Because he was gonna need to get the other person who died, O'Donnell. He needed to get her ghost into the Faraday cage, because he knew that her ghost was going to show up. If the other ghosts were still in the Faraday cage and O'Donnell didn't die, then it didn't matter. But because O'Donnell was going to die, he had to program his hologram to let them out, so they'd all be out, so he could later do the trick where he gets them all to go back in. Otherwise, he'd have almost all of them in and one of them out, and that wouldn't help anybody.
Right. Okay, well, that's... I can see that, sure. That's just kind of
it's
overkill.
It's a little bit of a convoluted plot.
Yes.
Yeah, but if he could just use his sonic and erase it from people's eyes, and it really didn't matter if the ghosts stayed in the base or not, he could have rounded them up later anyway. Yeah, I get it. This is nowhere near as complex as Season 6, but it is a little roundabout.
Well, nothing is.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
What?
I said, well, nothing is as complex as Season 6.
Let me just say... they try. Sometimes Moffat really tries hard to make it complicated, and it's just not.
We don't have enough time to go into Series 6.
I know. for all those listening, please view previous podcasts of ours to hear me rant about Series 6.
Well,
we're gonna,
okay.
we're gonna have to re-record that sometime, and I'm just gonna have to put that up on YouTube. Just me ranting about Series 6.
Yes.
Well, I don't understand. Why did he get in the stupid the what do you call it? The stasis chamber. He sends the Fisher King out of the room. He could have just ran out and gotten back in the TARDIS, and then just flown to the future.
True.
Why
yeah.
did he
Maybe.
have to appear
I don't know.
suddenly. Haha.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know.
It's a little complicated. It's a little timey-wimey.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue he couldn't have made it to the TARDIS in time after blowing up the dam, or, he...
How did he get the power cell over to the dam?
I'm assuming it was he took Bennett to the TARDIS, and then he did that, and then he went into the warehouse or whatever. And then he used his sonic glasses to set it up.
That's miles away.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he drive a truck or something? Was there a car or something he could take?
It was like a golf cart that he just kind of...
I really wanted, it's the 1980s. I really wanted there to be an Aston Martin or something sitting there so he could be all James Bond about it.
Yeah.
But it's Russia, so it would have been just, a turnip truck.
No, it wasn't Russia. It was they dressed it up to look like Russia because it was a field experience for the soldiers. It was still Scotland.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, it was still Scotland.
Oh, it was,
but
okay, so it was
Scotland. It was like a training. Yeah, it was like a training facility where they had made it look like.
I did not understand that.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually in Russia, and I'm like, but in the year 22 whatever, when units investigating this, who cares? It could be anywhere on the earth. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But no, it's Scotland. Definitely Scotland.
Yes. Yeah, they mentioned it because you were like, why are we in Russia when they were in Scotland before? No.
Now maybe you could tell me this: why was clearly the Fisher King knew about the Time Lords? He understood what Time Lords were and the craziness that ensues.
Which
why
I loved.
Was he surprised
by the way.
that the Doctor lied?
I don't. Yeah.
All Time Lords lie all the time. I don't think I've ever seen an episode with a Time Lord where he wasn't lying to someone. Don't you think he would have gone, oh, you erased it? Somehow magically? Well, I'll verify that later. First, let me kill you. That's really Fisher King?
Yeah.
No wonder your race lost
That's
in the war
right.
against the guys that always give up.
It really was a dumb reason for the bad guy to die. Like, he got tricked into, like, oh yeah, I erased the message. Why don't you go check it out? And then he goes out there and nope. Oh.
Now I'm gonna say one of those stupid things, but he's the Fisher King. Okay, are we led to believe that he comes from a planet that they're aquatic? Is that what they were trying to get with? That he's the Fisher King?
Yeah, I don't know if he's maybe he's not a fish, just
okay.
I don't know.
I mean, that wouldn't have stopped, a wall of a flood from killing him when it hit him.
Right.
Because that would kill anything. But I mean, could he survive that? Wouldn't he be able to live underwater? He looks like a fish. He didn't have like a fishy noise or anything. He wasn't a dude with like a super white costume on and white face and going around calling themselves Atlanteans, but
Right.
I.e. upcoming Underwater Menace DVD of Trout and Era.
Oh, yes.
Alright.
Looks so good.
Doesn't it? It looks so bad. That's what I love about it. I really liked how Cass figured out the guy was behind her with the axe.
Oh, yeah. That was really great. I really loved that
scared.
effect, too. Oh, yeah. That was a really creepy part.
Oh my god, that was super creepy. Like I was like, oh my god, she's going to die. There's no way she can hear him. And then when she realizes, wait a minute, the vibrations, I'm like, yes.
Yes. Well, I also loved the fact that when we were all of a sudden we were with her, like they cut off the sound.
Mm-hmm.
So like we couldn't hear. Yeah.
So
what was
felt
going
more
on.
claustrophobic.
And then I really loved when she put her hand on the floor and closed her eyes. Sort of the visual effect of all the vibrations around her.
Very Daredevil of her.
And all that stuff. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
That was a neat effect. That's like when Matt Smith did the thing in his first episode where like he had to remember what he saw and he like it's going through his mind's eye and he's seeing all the different people taking pictures with their phones.
Uh-huh.
It's like I love that they drop these little effects in there. These just little moments that you'll never see again, but it's super cool to watch.
You won't.
That's that parallel for me. That was the same kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's a really interesting quote that Clara said that it didn't hit me till second viewing that I was like, oh man, that's dark. Okay. So it was when the doctor was like, I gotta die. And she was like, no, you can't. You can just change it, right? He's like, no, it's happened. I gotta die. Which, that was interesting, too. It was again, it reminded me of Angels Take Manhattan. It was the whole, like, once an event happens, you can't.
Well, yeah, and they've set that down as a precedent that once you know the future, you can't necessarily change the future. And this was, he saw himself as a ghost, so that he knew he was going to die, which, of course, was complete and total BS, and he totally changes the future. But,
yeah.
Okay, maybe the story was a little more complicated than it needed to be, now that I think about it. Like, why couldn't he just make a hologram of himself, and just be like, hi, I'm a hologram, here's what you need to do next? Because I've already done it. Like, why did he need to play around? Why did he mess around with it? O'Donnell didn't have to die. They could have figured it out. Oh, man, see? Poking holes in the story already. Damn it, White House. You had one job. One job!
You had 2 jobs. It was 2 episodes.
All right, you had 2 jobs. 2 jobs!
But anyway, this quote, and so she says, die with whoever comes after me. Do not leave me. You do not leave me. So at first I was just like, oh, well, that's, yeah. She's upset. But then I thought about that line. She says, die with whoever comes after me. So we've been talking a lot about how Clara has sort of made this real big character shift into she is the Doctor. And she's sort of, and even in the last episode, it was this whole like, how you doing? I think you need a hobby. You're too like into the adventure, and I'm worried for you. This to me sounds like, and it kind of reinforces my theory that Clara is probably going to die. She is like, she'll do whatever, and she is not afraid of death, and she's like just kind of ready to die. I think she's like gonna do just as much adventuring as possible, and if she ends up dying, whatever, she wants to save the doctor, but if it means that she dies, it sounds to me like she doesn't care. Like, she's accepted that he may have someone after her, as opposed to, say, Donna, who was like, I was gonna be with you forever. You know what I mean? So that sort of attitude shift for me, I was like, that's kind of a dark line. That's saying whoever's going to come next after me, like usually none of the companions would say that. They would think, oh, I'm going to be here forever. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but I also see it as, her first season storyline, she went back in time as a fractured part of herself and was there for every companion. She understands that there were others and always will be more. She knows she's not going to be with them forever. And I think that line was her accepting not that there'll be more, but knowing that he's going to move on when she's gone, however that happens. Maybe one day she stops, maybe one day she dies, but eventually she will grow old and that will be it. And so she's just embracing the moment, and I think that line was her reaffirming to him that, you and me, we're doing this thing, don't you dare leave me. I think that's her telling him, you can't leave, you can't walk away now. Never again can you walk away, because I'm here. I don't care what you do with the next person, but me.
Yeah. That's a good...
I mean, you are right.
Right.
Rose thought she'd be with him forever because she loved him. And Martha walked away, but Martha thought she'd, always be in his life somehow because they were friends. And Donna honestly thought she was going to travel with him forever because she's his best friend. Amy was there as long as she possibly could. And that's why it hit the doctor so hard, is because what he didn't get with Rose, Martha, and Donna, he got with Amy and Rory. He got the two best friends he always wanted, and they could be with him as long as they wanted to be, and then something horrible happens where he can never see him again. So with her, I think at first she wasn't sure what he was all about, but then once she enters his time stream and does all this stuff, and then shares in with him the adventure where he saves Gallifrey, and is there then with him until his very end, and he becomes Capaldi, I think she realizes, it doesn't matter how long I'm here for, as long as I say so, he has me.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a very good point. I didn't quite consider like natural death. You know what I mean? Like I didn't think about that.
Because nobody dies of natural causes in Doctor Who.
Exactly.
Literally, except for Amy and Rory.
I feel like now she's got nothing to lose in this series. I feel like after Danny Pink. She, and for everything we've been told by Moffat and Capaldi and Jenna Coleman, I feel like Clara this series has nothing to lose. She's not, she just wants to go on adventure after adventure after adventure, never stop. And this line to me was kind of screamed to me like, I don't want to stop, I just keep going until it kills me. So it was just sort of that difference of between Donna and her. Like Donna was like, I'm going to be with you forever, and Clara was like, with whoever comes after me. So it was just it kind of hit me like, oh.
Well, and that's interesting too, because when we look at the three companions prior to Matt Smith, we see three people who, well, at least two of them did not want their lives before him. Rose was so tired of her life. She hated everything. She was a 19-year-old girl, but, so of course she hated everything. But she didn't want to be at home with her mom all the time. She didn't want Mickey. She wanted something more, and she got it with the Doctor. So she wanted to be pulled away and just stay in that sort of that fantasy as long as possible. Donna was the same way. You know, she loves her mom and her granddad, but, you know, she didn't want to stay home and do a stupid temp job and, you know, and just be an ordinary person. Once she met the Doctor, she wanted that fantasy where she could run away from her life. And I think Martha, in a very serious way too, very similar to that. She had a great life before the Doctor. She was going to be a doctor, but then she sees there's all this fantasy out there, this other stuff she could do, and she wanted to run away from her life again, or from her life. So I think before Matt Smith's Doctor, all the companions were trying to run away. Then you get Amy and Rory, who they had to make the conscious choice, didn't they? They had to sit there and say, well, what do we really want? Do we want normal everyday life, which we can have, or do we want the life with the Doctor, which is amazing and great, but will probably kill us? And they had to try and decide that, you know, what they wanted, and balance that. But then you get Clara, who has a really honest to God great life. She is a teacher. She loves being a teacher. She loves the students. She loves, you know, she was helping to raise these other kids. She's got a good home life. She's got, you know, a grand that she loves. She's got a life. And you see that in her first 2 seasons with him. She wants to try and get everything. She wants to keep her life and just kind of play with the Doctor when she can. Not anymore, though. Now, you're right. After she lost Danny Pink, I think she's given up. She realizes everything she had is stupid and meaningless. The only thing that matters are the adventures. And she embraces that. Where the others wanted to escape their lives, she is fully committed to letting go of a really good life to live with the Doctor. So it's different, I think.
Yep. I'm really interested.
That was lengthy.
No, it was good. I'm really interested to see where this goes with Clara, and because I love these little character moments, these little character developing moments, in this sort of, you know, this wacky time traveling sci-fi show. I love this kind of dramatic stuff, and this stuff that gives me
I'm gonna cry so much when she dies.
Gives me the feels. Oh man, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I really don't know what's going to happen with her. And, like, there's a part of me that thinks Moffat's going to be super cruel. And, like, something will happen where she'll be erased from existence. Like she never happened or something. Yeah. Like that. Because what do you do with the girl who literally is in every moment of the Doctor's time stream? You make her completely unimportant by erasing her. That is the diametric opposite. That's gonna happen. That's what I feel like is gonna happen. And that's gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
And scream and throw stuff and buy a plane ticket and fly over to England and go to the BBC headquarters and go knock on Moffat's door. And when he opens it, I'm just gonna throw like something in his face. I don't know what yet. Just something. I'm gonna throw it in his face and be like, "That's for Clara Oswald."
A bucket of your tears.
A bucket of my... Ew. No.
No?
Even I'm not that...
Okay.
How would I get that on the plane?
I don't know. That's true.
I guess what I'll have to do is I will have to anticipate that it's going to happen, buy the ticket and fly over there before I watch the episode, watch it over there, cry into a bucket, and take it and...
Perfect.
To make the insult work.
Yes.
Thank you. Good. I'm glad we're on the same page here. I guess I could always put it into like an enclosed capsule and mail it to myself.
Sure.
Moving on.
So
some really great quotes in this episode.
Oh, some really good ones. This episode had more quotes. And granted, I got to watch this one a second time, and some of the others I didn't. But these, I remember there were some really good ones that I really loved in this episode. First and foremost, Google it. I love that. It's the Bootstrap Paradox. Google it.
Google it.
So good.
Quick question. Was he really talking to the audience, or was he talking to the 2 people traveling with him?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good point.
Like, like it was done in a way that shows that he was talking to us, and clearly at the end of the episode when he turns around and shrugs, he's looking at us, and that's him breaking the fourth wall.
Oh, the shrug.
But I feel like he was trying to tell the people he was traveling with about it, but then he wouldn't have understood that it was a Bootstrap Paradox until after the episode. So yes, he was definitely breaking the fourth wall and talking to us. That was just him doing narrative somehow nebulously after the adventure, but
yeah, or I feel like
Clara
this
wasn't paying attention.
Right, I feel like this was, I mean, I think it's breaking the fourth wall, so maybe it's not, I don't know when this would have happened in his timeline, if he actually was talking to himself or whatever, or who he was talking to, or maybe he's making some videos or something in the TARDIS. But I feel like this was at a separate time. Like, he made this video, or he said these things, or he was telling someone this at like a separate time, and we just got to see this because it related to the story.
I did like when he was trying to explain with the sonic eyeglasses, the sunglasses later. He's like, you may have lost some memories too, like people you've known, or a few previous addresses, or how to drink liquids. I love the comedic rule of three. And that worked perfectly.
Yeah, that one was really good. I enjoyed Bennett's line after they met the Tavolian, and the Tavolian was, I'm glad he died early, because I don't know if it could have standed him for like the whole episode. Like, he was funny, but it was like, only in a small dose. He was good. But anyway, Bennett says, first proper alien, and he's an idiot.
Bennett would be the perfect Capaldi companion after Clara.
Yeah.
I loved at the very beginning during the monologue, up and down history he goes, zip, 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 zip. I don't know why I loved him just saying zip so many times, but it's just, he's so passionate about that speech.
Yes. That's good.
When O'Donnell's fangirling, and she said, oh, hang on, I got something in my shoe, and as the doctor walked away, she turns to Bennett and goes, it's bigger on the inside, it's bigger on the inside, it's bigger on the inside. Because I would do that too.
Yes, I would. Yeah, one of the best reactions to it being bigger on the inside is that, and less of the like, what? It's more of, it's like, yay.
She expected it.
Yeah. I think my favorite quote though is after he finds out he's going to die, and he's talking to Bennett and O'Donnell, and he's like, I gotta die. And he says, this regeneration is a bit of a clerical error anyways.
That's a fair point, actually. Shouldn't have happened. And from his standpoint, he's getting extra time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a great line.
It's a really great line. I mean, I just love the reference to the fact that this is his 12th regeneration. Well, no, it's not his 12th. It's past, whatever, the 13th. Mm-hmm. And so this is a whole new set, and he shouldn't be able to do this anyway. So I'm glad that they're referencing that, because I know that I feel like that would be a really interesting plot point to bring up later. Something like about how he's gotten a whole new set of regenerations, and what does that mean for him. So that was a fun little nod to that, and it was kind of in a funny way. So final thoughts on the episode.
Final thoughts. Well, overall, I thought it was a great episode. There's lots of timey-wimey for you and all the Whovians out there, the time travel lovers, and mostly a great adventure to help round out the second story for the season. My opinion on the two-parters still stands. It is dumb. It is an hour and 25-minute episode. Stop it. Just Moffat, just stop. But if it has to be a two-parter, okay, this was the way it should be. The first episode sets it up and has one tone. The second episode brings it home and has a completely different tone. And I like that. I like that these episodes really just kind of work together. And that's a good thing. So overall, good.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was a great episode. I love the timey-wiminess of it, of course. But I agree with you. I agree that I also loved how different this episode felt in tone. That's a big key word there. Is the tone of the episode felt a lot different from the last episode, which is great. Otherwise, I would be bored. There's some really great quotes in this. A lot of amazing Doctor moments. Capaldi has some really good moments in this. My opinion on the two-parters, I'm not minding them so much. If the quality of the stories is this good, I don't mind. A two-parter like the Santaran Stratagem and the Poison Sky, not a big fan of that one because I feel like the quality of the story wasn't as good. Sometimes I feel like, we can have not so many two-parters and have a lot of single, 45-minute stories, but when you do that, sometimes you run out of good ideas. And we get episodes like Night Terrors or Fear Her, okay? So things like that. So if there's a really good story idea and it can be stretched out and not ruin the quality of the story, if it's a longer story, then I'm okay with that. So I'm enjoying these two-parters. This episode in particular was pretty good. My only beef with it was I wish they'd spent a little less time back at the base and so kept with that other tone of at that other place and the whole timey-wimey part. Because I felt that base stuff was like more of the same in the first episode. And there was a couple of scenes that I felt were a little parallel to Classic Who, where it was basically just to fill some time to have someone running around being chased by the monster. So I thought it was pretty good.
And I want to make one final plea to Stephen Moffat. I know right now the fate of the BBC is up in the air. I know there's a lot of talk right now of there might not being a season 10 next year. I know the format might change. Talks of doing them as hour and a half long episodes like Sherlock, but only doing 3 or 4.
Oh.
That definite boo. So here's what I have to say to you. I know you listen. Clearly you listen because I'm 100% positive that you're listening. So I'm glad you're listening. You have nothing else to do with your life, so it's okay. You can listen to us. Moffat, come here. Come over to America. Because we promise to give you full 23, 24 episode seasons every year. We will give you a Hollywood-style budget. We'll give you full creative control. And just don't put it on the Fox network and it's guaranteed to last. So if the BBC fails you, as British things tend to do, please consider just coming over here, bud. We got it. We got this. We have figured this one out.
Not me and Matt specifically, but somebody will take care of this.
No. I mean, we will be happy to participate and get this going. I will write, clearly.
Yes.
And Taylor will
be a Dalek.
perform.
I will do a Dalek. No problem.
He will be a Dalek.
Yeah.
It will be good. We will find a way to make Doctor Who even better. Come over to the United States of America, and we will take care of you. Because, and I'm saying this from the deepest part of my heart, with all of the love I have for you and your work, if you give us a Sherlock-style Doctor Who season next year, I will come over there and throw a bucket of tears in your face. It's going to happen. I will figure it out, and you are going to be drenched in my tears. And that's not going to be fun. It's going to get in your shoes and your socks, and it'll be all squishy. You'll sit down, and it'll be all squishy, and it'll be like, this is not fun. And you're right, it won't be fun, so don't do it. Just say no to Sherlock-style seasons. Okay, thank you. On that note, TARDIS, what do we give before the flood?
Calculating. on the Vortex gives Before the Flood. 7 out of 10.
So, I think I'm super excited for the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
Are you super excited for the next episode?
Oh, I'm very excited for the next episode.
And you know what makes me excited for the next episode?
What's that?
Oh my god, that promo. Oh my god, that promo.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The promo.
That promo. The promo.
Promo looked good.
There's so much to love about that promo.
It looked good.
There's so much. There's Vikings.
Yeah.
There's... Okay, if anyone else can follow this, has anyone else ever seen Seven Samurai? Because in Seven Samurai, which is film,
right?
Akira Kurosawa, who directed it, has this whole like montage sequence where he's training the villagers, like to teach them how to fight off against fight the bandits.
Right.
And during the whole training the villagers sequence, he like sets up all these things, and he kind of lays out how the whole second half of the movie is going to unfold by setting up the anticipation for what you know is coming.
Uh-huh.
And so when I'm watching the promo, and the doctor is trying to train these villagers on how to fight, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's the training the villagers scene, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, they're all fumbling.
I love it when they do that.
Yeah.
Right? Wah, wah, wah.
And so I'm a little disappointed that those sort of armored fellas that we saw in all the promo pictures in the previous, not Jadoons. I guess they're not Jadoons.
Not Jadoons.
Oh, well. I hope
no,
we do.
Bro.
Yeah.
No Jadoondo.
It's a no-go.
It's a no-go, bro.
I hope we... I hope we do get to see what's inside those, because, I mean, they've got to be shaped interestingly for the armor to look like that. So I'm interested to see what.
I really want their heads to be giant, like rectangles, like their helmets. Like they take off the helmets, and the helmets are skin tight.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why. I just really want that.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what those guys look like. I'm interested to see what those guys look like.
Well, because all we've seen are them in the armor.
Yeah.
Maybe all we will see are them in the armor.
So we got a little bit of Maisie Williams in this, not a lot. We've gotten more in the other ones. But it's something about there's these I guess they're space Vikings. They look like space Vikings. Come down and they're gonna battle this other. Something with the village, and so the doctor's going to train the villagers to fight them. Yeah, so it looks fun.
I love that this was my biggest problem with season 8. I needed the Doctor to be the Doctor, and I love that very early on we're getting him saying, "I'm the Doctor and I save people." Yes, you are, sir. Yes, you are. That is your modus operandi, and I'm glad to see him embracing that this season.
Oh yeah, yeah. I again, Capaldi has found it this season. I mean, he is more and more the Doctor every episode, and I'm really enjoying where he's going with it. And I just wish that they had done more of this kind of stuff last season. And maybe it's one of those things where it's like, well, now it makes more sense because I've seen all of last season. It's just like one of those things. So I don't know. Yeah,
we see Clara, who seems to be lost in space, and the Doctor saying, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get to you. You're up next." He's busy doing other things, apparently.
Yeah. So yeah, it looks very interesting. A lot of different elements to this one.
Thing. The promo makes this episode look phenomenal.
Yep. Well,
sounds good.
That's the show, folks.
Thanks for tuning in again, and we will see you guys here next week when we basically just drool for an hour talking about Maisie Williams.
Yes. And just what a fantastic episode it is, unless it really stinks.
In which case, I will be sure to rant for a long time.
Oh, I wouldn't
Good night,
expect
everybody.
anything less. Good night.
We'll see you here next week in the Vortex.
Goodbye.
This has been another Voices from the Vortex review, Series 9, starring Matthew Whitecamp as Matt the Time Lord, Taylor Davidson as Taylor the Time Lord, and Danielle Davidson as the TARDIS. All views expressed are the opinions of the two dudes from Gallifrey, and as such should be taken extremely seriously. Follow Voices from the Vortex on all social media, including Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. If you have any questions regarding the podcast, please email us at voicesfromthevortex@gmail.com. Doctor Who and all related material is copyright BBC. No infringement of copyright is intended. All originally written material is fan fiction of a satirical nature. Please, Mr. Moffat, don't sue. See you next time in the Vortex.
Temporal flight engaged. Returning to the vortex. End of transmission.